Carrie, good to see you. Walt, there we go. Oh, look, you got someone else. Andrew's got the beach going on today, too. I've got PW on my screen, but PW, you never actually, I don't know your actual name. Drop it in the chat so I don't have to call you PW. CJ, I can't see you, brother. Where you at? Martin, welcome. Christine, Angie, Monica, Corey, Barbie, Kimberly, Williams note taker, MJ. And I know there's more on the other screen. It is so good to see some of you. And hey, Angie, there we go. What's up? Good morning. More coming in too. Let's get those videos on, everybody. People excited for Brandon's call today. Man, I've been looking forward to this one. This is my own lesson to learn. And one of the things I love about it, man, Brandon, I'm so excited is it's easy. It's so simple.
It's very, very simple.
And
Not
that's always a
complicated.
relief for me.
Hmm.
It's always nice. And most of the time when I'm struggling with like a strategy, an idea or something, it's almost always I'm overcomplicating it. It's almost always I'm trying to build too much, do too much, add too much. And most of the time the solution is slow it down,
Hmm.
make it incredibly simple and just do it.
Yeah, consistency and the small things, right? And
Yeah.
it's one of those things we always want to go 0 to 100 right out of the gate. And it's like, yeah, these things, it's like all these people that you look at that have these successful businesses, or let's say they have the successful, whether that's open rates on email, whether that's number of houses under contract, that work started a long time ago. And so we just have to be patient, which is really hard for us these
Yeah.
days. Patience
Yeah.
and consistency. Those are very two difficult concepts in today's world.
So let's get in with the icebreaker question, guys. Who here struggles with engaging with all, emphasize the word all, your leads in a relevant way consistently? Okay, you guys follow that? All your leads, that includes past clients, by the way, too. Past clients, all your leads in a relevant way consistently. Who struggles with that? Drop it in the chat if that's you. Drop it in the chat. I want to see them. And by the way, that should be every single person in this call. Let's be real. Come on now. Let's be real. Andrew says, me, Walt, we all do. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Kimberly agreed. Angie agreed. CJ, me. Kristen, 100%. Not 99, 100%. That's right. I like that commitment. Good morning, those who are still coming in. Let's get those videos on. Corey says, I agree. That's right. That's right. All right, about one more minute, then we hit it. Oh, that's a good line, actually. I like that. The Ron is here in the virtual flesh. Yeah, I remember that was one of the biggest things I needed to solve in my business is I thought it was leads at first
Mhm.
because the stigma and like the sexy talk and the guru talk and the marketing talk is almost always get billions of leads and they're going to convert and it's going to be amazing and everything's great. And then I got very good at lead gen very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast. I mean, in within 2 years I had 30,000 people in a database.
Wow.
Yeah, but here's the problem, right? It's not a lead problem. It was my follow up. And I just wasn't following up. It was just so many leads. And my brain kept telling me, well, just keep generating leads. And from those leads, someone's just going to be ready.
Well, that's right. I think we think about like we have this linear um, relationship with our sort of perception of leads, which is like, okay, I'm going to make this call and then work this person, and they're either a home buyer or they're not a home buyer. And really, we're sort of tanking, but we're throwing out the baby with the bathwater because there's so much in a database like that. Yeah, maybe they're not ready now, right? But maybe they will be ready in 6 months. Maybe they will be ready in a year. Maybe they will be ready in 2 years. Maybe in 2 years they call you and they be like, hey, this first house. But if they don't remember you, they won't reach out to you.
That's
So
why this call is so
it's
good.
not possible for you to like do the proper follow-up with 30,000 leads, right? That's insane,
Yeah.
right? So we have to segment into who is sort of a high priority, right? Which are going to be what we call in our company, we call them transactional leads, people who are in the middle of transacting, right? And so these other people, what do we do with these other people? And a lot of times we lose opportunities because we're not staying in touch with those people. And the only way that we have created in our business to communicate with these people is a phone call or a text. And so we are tanking so much opportunity because we don't have a good system in place to sort of warm people, to keep them in the warmer, like to
Yeah.
date them until they're ready to make a decision.
And that's why we're doing today,
Yeah,
man,
that's right.
because oh my gosh, let's just get into it. We're five after, guys. I respect your time, you respect my time, and we're gonna have a great time. So, this is for all the agents who maybe feels overwhelmed by how many leads and past clients they need to follow up with. Guilty, for sure. It's an overwhelming process. And you know what's so amazing about it is that overwhelming is different for every person. I know people have 50 leads and it feels overwhelming. 50 people in their database. I know people have 5,000 and it feels overwhelming. But what I do know is all of them still feel the pressure that we're going to help. It won't solve all your problems, but this is going to help alleviate it a lot. It really is. It's going to make you feel a lot better about yourself, which really, let's be honest, that makes everything feel better, doesn't it? When you don't hate yourself and you don't feel like a failure, life feels a lot better. Okay. This is also for agents who don't want to bug leads, they just don't want to bother them. Buy a house already. Sell your house already. Come on now, and all the ancillary stuff around that, the sneaky stuff where people can still feel that you're trying to sell them, right? You guys know, right? And then, of course, it's for agents who believe that staying relevant is essential to long term success. And I think we can all agree with that one. I mean, you've got to, right? Now, before we really get into the details, you're making four commitments by being here on this call today. Number one is video on unless you are doing something inappropriate or not safe. Then keep that video off, okay? Otherwise, keep that video on because this is a community. And by the way, you can't be a blank screen to your clients either. Two, distractions off. You did not show up today to be distracted. You are too smart to do that. That is self sabotage. So, whatever you got to do, right? Flip that phone over, mute it, whatever. No distractions. Okay. Participate. More interactive calls. Ask questions, answer questions. If we have time, we'll even get into a breakout room. So participate in those breakout rooms. That is actually where we see some of the most awesome, pun intended, breakthroughs. So keep that going. And then one of my most important ones is just go make someone else's day. Don't just take this and hoard it for yourself. Just like it's being given to you from Brandon and myself today for free. No requirements, no strings attached. Go bless a lender with what you learned today, a fellow agent. Go bless someone else with what you learned today. So, now, quick question for everybody. Quick follow up question, right? So, we talked about how overwhelming it is to follow up with all your leads and past clients and things like that. How many deals do you think you've lost because of forgetting or avoiding follow up? Drop that in the chat. What do you think that? What do you think that is? I know for me, right, the big moment I had is that I was saying earlier, guys, I had a huge database, thousands and thousands and thousands of leads in it. Wasn't following up with them, but it just didn't really resonate that it was a bad thing in the moment. I didn't have anybody teach me how important follow up was. So then I started to go back through the process of following up with leads. And within the first 100, there were 7 deals I had missed. That's within the first 100. I had thousands, mind you. Okay, so simply do the math on that. How much is 7 deals for you guys? It's a pretty good number, isn't it? Now times that by your database, and it was insane. I was like, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. It actually ended up, I did the math, it ended up being around like $1.2 million in commissions that I missed because I had a very big database, by the way. So for most of you, it won't be that, but it was an excessive amount. It was like, what the heck? And so that's where these kind of things need to change moments come from, right? Right? You open up your CRM, it's a quiet afternoon. You scan past your clients and leads and pause on a name you haven't touched on in a few months. You think, I should probably reach out, right? But then what happens? Let's be real. What do I even say? Is now a weird time? I don't want to sound like I'm pushing to get business again, even though, let's be honest, you are. Like, come on now, right? So you do what most agents do, okay? I want you to drop in the chat if this is you. You put it off. In somewhere in your brain, you still feel like this will work out though. Somehow, in a magical unicorn world, this is just going to work out. Me not staying in contact and not following up is still going to lead to a deal. But what really happens, guys? A while later, you see their name again, and it's because they just listed with someone else. Can we all agree that that's actually the more realistic outcome? Right? Can we agree with that? Doesn't feel good, does it? Anybody relate to that? Drop an X in the chat if you can relate to that. Guilty, seriously. That's what made me have to go back through follow up. I had remembered the lead name. I was like, that name sounds familiar. Scanned my database, reached out to them, literally had messages from them saying, hey, we're listing our house. Can you give us a call? And then I said, I should probably start following up with my leads. It's probably a good idea, you know? So now, guys, as we always do, say it with me. Things need to change, right? And they will, starting with one newsletter. Because, real quick, before we get into step one, email beats social media by 40% for turning leads into actual clients. Anybody know that? Email crushes it. All right. Local event emails, which is part of what we're covering today, generate about 30% more engagement and responses than just standard market updates and other real estate emails. Which, by the way, those have a place too. It's all part of an ecosystem. And leads nurtured by newsletters typically close 30% better than other sources. I'd say those are probably some pretty good results, something most of us, because this is about staying relevant, building trust by consistently giving your database something they value. That's pretty fair, right? Don't give them crap, give them something they value. And maybe they'll like you more and want to work with you more and talk to you more. I think that's fairly simple. All right, so now we're actually going to get into it with Brandon, and we're going to be breaking it down. Brandon, I don't typically do big introductions to anybody. If you notice, I don't even introduce myself. I like to just get into it so we can have a lot of fun, and people naturally will ask questions or it'll come up in the story. So step one that Brandon and I went over today is just finding local events your database will care about. And Brandon, I have bullets here, but I'm gonna let you kind of take over and start sharing some of your thoughts. So I have a couple bullets that I learned from you. Um, but if you want to, I'll unmute you. Don't worry. There you
Great,
go.
great. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I appreciate that. And by the way, I appreciate that we didn't do an introduction. But yeah, let's get right into it. And so the first thing is, as Robert was saying, look, if you're wanting to stay top of mind with your clients and give them, you need to give them something of value. And I want to restate that email by far is the number one marketing tool in your arsenal. That's the number one way. Across with is it's no secret, right? Everywhere you go, right? If you want to buy something, they want your email. Why do they want your email? Because now they sort of own some mental space. They've got a little bit of ability to interact with you and see if you can interact with them. And the reason that we really even got into a higher level of email marketing is because my business partner used to work for, that doesn't work there anymore, obviously, but used to work for Harrah's Casino. and he knows what emails can do to create interaction with your brand and with your business. And so hopefully we don't understate how important this is. But I like Robert's methodology, which let's take it down to an atomic level. Let's talk about our anchor email, right? The one that we send them every month that has the highest open rate, which is our event email. And typically we're sending that on the first Monday of the month. It's our first Tuesday of the month. Mondays are not good for open rates. First Tuesday of the month, or let's say, it's the 31st is the Tuesday part. We're going to do it then. And what we're doing is very, very simple. Okay, you guys all know it's like what are we all looking to do over the course of the week and over the course of the weekend, and especially right now in summertime, people are looking for things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's things to do with ourselves, things to do with our kids, right? And so this event email always gets our highest open rate. And so basically all we're doing is sourcing information from things like the Chamber of Commerce, from other sort of local entities that share their event calendars. And we look at just 5 to 10 events that happen every single month. Right. So again, well, those things and also it's okay to follow other people who post local events because you can grab something, you might be able to see something that you didn't see in these other places. So you can kind of collaborate with others to sort of bring into focus yours. Um, and I love this also like is on the slide. You don't have to overthink this, right? We have some staple things that go out in that community event, like a farmer's market, right? Like the, sort of annual parade on 4th of July in Franklin, Tennessee. Concerts, all of those things, right? Those are all really good sort of standard things to put in there. And then you can filter through and put a couple of like maybe high profile. Now, one thing that I will tell you now, have you guys noticed when you open your phone, your iPhone, like it's now things are segmented? Right? In your email. It's like, okay, there's like this is like promotional emails and this is like this or that or whatever. Okay. Have you
Yeah.
seen that? Okay. That's a new change in the marketplace. And it's important that we all kind of stop and pay attention to that because we don't want our emails going into promotional and spam stuff. Okay. So we've been working with this for about 6 months with this new system, and our open rates on our email, both consumer and agent emails, are between 70 and 80%.
Can I pause you there? Because I want them to hear it from me.
Okay.
Guys, 70 to 80% is so astronomically high. It's part of why I'm even talking to Brandon today and why he's here. Because the, you can learn from people who do subpar and barely scrape by. You can learn from people who are average. You can learn from people like me. I'm above average. My open rates are about 40, 50%, right? Or you can learn from masters, absolute masters who do things that few others have ever done. They're going to bring insights and things like that. I mean, it was just when we were talking about this, I was like, that's incredible. We have got to talk a bit more about this. And remember, you're not going to learn. I want to set proper expectations. You're not going to learn every detail of every system and every process. We don't do that. You forget it all anyway. What we're going to do is just focus on getting you started. But what Brandon is showing you is the potential of what you can do. You can achieve something that most people believe isn't possible.
Hmm.
So I just want to share that, Brandon, because it
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Now, is it okay if I answer a question from the chat box?
yes.
Okay, so Lizette was said, well, how is that open rates are about in the 20%, which by the way, that is a really good, 20% is a very good open rate.
Yep.
Now here's the sort of like things that happen behind the scenes. And I don't want to get too deep into this, but basically we do some segmenting of our audience, and basically we're going to have people that are in our highest category, right? And then we're sort of also simultaneously building up credibility with maybe a group that has a lower open rate. So, but we're moving them into the high open rate once they've kind of interacted with us consistently. So that's a little bit in the weeds. We don't need to talk about that today. But what I do want to tell you is there are some things that we need to do that are baseline so that we have higher open rates. One of them is now this For you guys that love Canva, I am going to basically say something heretical, which is stop using tons of graphics in your emails. And I know how pretty we want it to look, and we want to like everybody to pull this open. And this email is a reflection of me and my love for the world, right? And I want everybody to see how beautiful this is. Okay. First thing that's going to get put into spam and promotional folders.
Yeah.
Because those filters are looking for graphics. And if you've got too many graphics, boom, they're putting you into spam or promotional. The number one, right? So we're going to go back to a text-based with a link to something that maybe look pretty. Okay,
Yeah.
that could be to your website.
I
That could
think
be
I have that as a note
yeah,
too, Brandon. So let me recap this
yeah,
one. It's this step one. So step
sure.
one, guys, just because there's so much you're gonna get from today. So step one is simple. You're gonna look up 5 to 10 events happening in your area this month. Remember, like Brandon said, don't overthink this. Farmers markets, concerts, parades, school events. Just go find them. Chamber of Commerce, city or county websites, local social pages. Like for instance, in my city, and I don't have the biggest city ever. I'm no Nashville. We got about 200,000 people here. There's a guy named Mr. Murfreesboro. That's his name. That's the city is Murfreesboro. I follow him. I look for events that he's finding. There are people probably even in your small rural town who just love events, love sharing events, love doing news. Go follow those people. And guess what? ChatGPT has gotten so good that it can often help you. You could literally put your zip code in and it
Mhm.
would say, here are 3 events that are happening right around this timeline, right around this area. So I would use all these resources like Brandon suggests and then make it feel, like he said, light and local and easy to scan. We're actually going to have some examples we'll share with you in a little bit so that you can see it is simpler than I promise you. It's simpler than what your brain is even thinking.
Yeah.
And that is such a good
If
thing.
you just did a text-based email only that just said, "Hey, here are the 5 great events that are happening this weekend or this month or 10 events that are happening this month," and it was just text only, that's going to be the best thing you can do.
Yep. So step two, which we talked about, is we have lots of things about getting it delivered, but the number one way to get it opened once they see it is write the subject line. And I would say this is something that John Cheplack helped me realize, and Alex Hermosi, which was we spend so much time on the content of the email that nobody opens.
Hmm.
And the first thing we should be doing is getting it delivered, right? Make sure they can even open it because it gets delivered, then that they see it, and then it compels them to open. And then everything after that, oftentimes, doesn't even have to be great. If you guys listen to Mr. Beast, you know what he tells you? Most of his time is spent on title, thumbnail, and the first uh, 3 seconds, 7 seconds, and 60 seconds of his video. And he says that includes his 40-minute videos. As long as he can nail those things, you will be more likely to watch 40 minutes of his content. And he even says this, even if he spent all his budget on the first 5 minutes, right? So this step is one of the most overlooked ones. Put your listening ears on and really take this in about the subjects. Brandon, take it away, babe.
Yeah, Cheplack, just to further that point, Cheplack says you should spend twice as much time on your subject line as you do on the content itself.
You guys hear that?
So twice as much time. So here's my suggestion to you guys. If you have somebody in this group that you can both of you can kind of commit to, right, or have some accountability, that way you can kind of share, hey, this is the subject line I'm thinking, or so back and forth, so that you can get some good and honest feedback. Um, but subject lines are everything, right? That is your sort of, poster for whatever your email is going to be. Um, so in that thing, one of the most interesting or recognizable events, that's going to be your hook, right? What's the thing? It's like let's say I'm doing a promotional email for pilgrimage. And then I'll say, did you hear about John Mayer? Dot, dot, dot. Right. And the ellipses are really by the way, the ellipsis is really important because it's an unfinished thought. It itches something in somebody's brain and they got to scratch it, right? And you got to get them to open. By the way, open rates that builds your credibility and builds your quote unquote deliverability.
Mm-hmm.
So open rates, that's why we want to get these things opened. So we want to sort of create, yeah, a lot of intrigue, interest, and create kind of an itch that they need to sort of finish the sentence. So we like to use a lot of ellipsis.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think one of the examples we worked on was this local event might just save your Saturday. Dot dot dot.
Oh, I love that one. That's great.
Uh,
Yeah, because
like
I'm going to be like, wait, what is it?
right, there's
I'm
so
totally clicking on that email.
isn't it crazy? Like it's
Yeah.
so simple, but just done the right way, it just resonates and triggers psychological things in our brain that says, I have to open this. But
Yeah.
if I just said Saturday events, okay, what do you want me to do with that? You haven't taught me how to respond to your email. You haven't made it relevant to me. I need to know. The people that are scanning their inboxes needs to know, wait, how is this relevant to me? How you got to trigger something in them,
Mhm.
right? So it's powerful, man, what you're saying.
Yes. And then the other thing is, yes, the language of your text needs to be pretty casual. And by the way, people can sniff out if you are using too much Chat GPT. You know, it's like I am a fan of Chat GPT and I use Chat GPT every single day. Okay. But what I will tell you is write it first.
Yes.
Do not have Chat GPT generate it from nothing.
Even
Right.
if it
So
sucks, guys,
yeah,
write it
that's right.
first.
So write it first and then you can sort of edit it later. But the idea, so think of Chat GPT for you as an editor, but not as a writer. Okay. And so you want it, but also you want it to feel like it came from you. So you don't want it to sound too robotic. So make sure, and by the way, you can put that in your Chat GPT prompt to say, hey, I want this to be casual.
Yep.
Right. And you can kind of give it a little bit of background. We don't need to go into that. But anyway, but yeah, the more relatable, more casual it could be, the better. Now, one thing that I like to do, and I probably should have said this at the front, but we need to talk about who your avatar is,
Mm.
right? When you're putting your emails together. So who are we trying to talk to? Right? When we're putting things together and what's going to be relevant to them? Just as a general rule, when you're writing content or you're writing copy for things for social media or for email or for whatever, you typically want to write them to just one person. By the way, I got that advice from a mentor of mine who's has done the New York Times bestseller list. I don't know how many times. And he said, all of my books are written to one person. And in a lot
Mm.
of cases, he'll start his, like when he's doing his writing, he'll start with, Dear Robert, right? And that usually that's going to give him enough insight, right? It's going to give him enough content. It's going to give him enough focus, and you actually are going to get more people to pay attention the more niche you are. So we need to talk about like who are we writing to? So for me, like the avatar is this. It's like I'm writing to. I even have a name for this person. Her name she's a neighbor of mine. Her name is Jenny Mayberry. And Jenny Mayberry is
What a
involved in
name.
the community and she's a huge influencer in our neighborhood. And if she likes something, everybody's going to know about it. And I'm going, okay, what would Jenny want to know about this weekend?
Mm.
So I'm writing all my emails for to Jenny, right? By the way, Jenny's also in the process of buying a house and I'd say the next 12 months, right? They're in this sort of research phase. That's another reason I'm writing to Jenny is because I'm going to have some, as these kind of emails move on, I'm going to have a little bit of information that Jenny might want to know. So that is also informs me, like rather than going broad and getting nothing, I'm going to go narrow and I'm actually going to get more.
I love that. I love that. And what's cool about, you know, some of the examples you sent me is you sent me lots of different. We're focusing on the community events,
Yeah.
but there's market updates,
Hmm.
there's local business type of reviews and spotlights, and each of those can follow the same template of the core principles you're learning today. And then those can even reach different audiences. You might have some investor clients who won't resonate with the community events, but they might care about the market updates.
Hmm.
And so you can take what you're learning today and replicate those core principles that work to reach different audiences. So I really take that in. If you're like, well, man, I mostly work with investors, so I don't know what I'm going to get out of today. Your investors love emails.
It's true. And by the way, guys, when you're doing, because you're going to have to do some calls in this too, but isn't it much easier to do a call when you know they've been opening your email, right? It's like you have a relationship with this person. They know who you are. You're top of mind, and the calls like just to use a chip like example again, they did a test with answered calls, and the thing that makes the difference between whether calls get answered or not, right? The way they increased their answered calls was through email marketing, right? Because you're staying top of mind. So that makes that phone call that much easier. And it makes you also a person of interest, and it makes you an influential person in your community. And so people want to answer the phone because they're like, okay, well, they're not just calling me about nothing, right? This is somebody that's influential in our community, and I'm interested in what they have to say.
I love this. All right, let's move into the last step.
Okay.
So I want us to have time to quickly, we'll check out a couple examples, where we'll check out at least the example you have, Brandon, of the
Sure.
community newsletter. So the last step that we're covering today, guys, is honestly probably one of the biggest hurdles you'll have to overcome, which is sending it, which is actually just allowing yourself to let go of all the fear and anxiety of, is it the right font? Is it the right style? Did I do a good job? All of the things that hold you back is, you've got to let go of those, and you've got to send it. Now, Brandon has some important points about how you send it. And so, Brandon, I'll let you go over those real quick.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to take away from you is the fear or the pain of someone that you know unsubscribing from your email. Okay, which will happen, and it's okay. It
Even
really
people
is
who like
okay.
you.
By the way, yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean they hate you. Some people are just like guardians of their email inbox, and so they just sort of unsubscribe to everything because they only want something from friends and family, whatever the case may be, right? But don't let that be a negative because I can't even tell you. It's like you just have to own it, right? Like I'm doing this consistently. I'm going to figure this out long term. I'm going to do this for the next 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. And I don't care if anybody unsubscribes because I'm going to have new people coming into this database, right?
Mm,
So your database is so important. So don't worry about the unsubscribes. And by the way, somebody might say something mean, but when you're out there and you're making a difference, that's just what happens,
mm-hmm.
right? When you're out there making a difference, you got to be willing to take the hits because they're going to come. So, yes, MailChimp it's free. It does have some ability to avoid the spam filters just because they have high deliverability. By the way, learn from somebody who's tried to go somewhere else to another one, completely tank their email list and had to build it back from scratch. Just stick with MailChimp. It works, right? Okay. So yes, CRMs are lower deliverability because of the domain, right? Because it's not recognized. So MailChimp's going to have higher deliverability. Um, yes, I would, and you could send the manual, but it takes forever. And my assumption is that you are not going to do it if you're going to have to do it individually or manually. Okay. And then again, simple format, 5 to 10 events, short descriptions, and Robert and I talked about this. Like right now, just get in the rhythm of once a month. Just, hey, I've got to send out my event email. Then we can start to work that into a weekly email over time. And this can also create synergy with, by the way, one of my favorite emails to send is we've got an event coming up. Will you come to it? Right? Which is a great way to interact because now my follow-up looks a little bit different because when I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling to invite them to something versus
Yeah.
asking them for something. So anyway, that all works together. But today, again, just stick to once a month.
Yeah. Cynthia,
What am
that's
I what
it.
am I forgetting about, Robert, or what do I need to?
No, you're spot on. We're going to show in just 1 second. We're going to show the community example. So if you want to have that ready, and then I'll
Sure.
let you share
Yes.
screen
Yeah.
in a
Let me pull
second.
it up real
So
quick.
guys, here's some of the critical notes that I took as I was learning from Brandon. Right. So one is, the email isn't about selling. That's a tendency we have. We have a fear that we can't just have a real conversation with someone without selling them, because we are afraid. Somewhere in our brain, we're told this is our only shot. I meet Walter. I have to tell him. I have to sell him somehow because I'll never talk to Walter again. But what did Brandon just tell you? I'm in it for the long haul. I'm going to keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this again and again and again. And I will have these conversations with these people who want to have these conversations. So I'm not afraid. So I'm not going to sell them. I'm not going to be that guy. All right. The subject line is everything when it comes to how people perceive and compel to open it. I mean, if they don't open it, it literally doesn't matter what work, effort, how good, right? If you could be the greatest agent in the world, but if no one talks to you, they won't know. You've got to do that subject line right. And again, I've taught this, Brandon's probably taught this, and this is still something that agents overlook. They still fall back to their tendency of, I'm just going to make a really great email and I'm going to just throw together or have ChatGPT. By the way, ChatGPT is not particularly good at subject lines. You have to do a lot of coaching and training, which means if you were going to spend a lot of time, this is my personal opinion, Brandon, you tell me what you think, but if you were going to spend a lot of time perfecting a skill, I would say get extremely good at subject lines because I have not. ChatGPT helps sometimes, but I've never been able to get it to a point to where
Oh,
it can do the subject lines for me. I just can't. I have to do it.
completely agree. As a matter of fact, I just keep a note open in my phone, and if I'm just driving down the road and I think of a good subject line, I'm gonna sort of
And
get
you'll
you.
get formats.
Yeah.
You guys will get so good at this over time. You'll get so good at it that you'll be able to start. It'll just happen. It'll just click,
Yeah.
and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that's the subject line." And like Brandon just said, I got to write this down.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and I want to just sort of pull that out, extract that for just a second, because a lot of times we're going like, I don't know if I have the ability to write, to boot copy, or whatever. You just need to start doing it, and it'll start coming at you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you just have to get started,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then as you start and you focus on doing it, you're going to get better and better over time. So you just have to get started, and the momentum will happen.
All right, a couple more critical notes. Don't overthink the events. Pick 5 to 10 things happening locally and just keep it simple. Again, like Brandon just said, you'll get better. It's okay. Avoid your CRMs from mass emails. They kill delivery rate and replies. That's not their focus. That's not why they exist. MailChimp exists. Their main priority is we've got to deliver these emails. People have to receive these emails. You're not trying to impress people, you're trying to connect with them, right? There is a difference. You know, when you're having a conversation of someone who's trying to impress you versus someone who's just trying to have a conversation, a relationship, a genuine moment together, right? Consistency beats cleverness, okay? It's okay if your first subject line isn't great. You're going to get better. Trust the process. A helpful email every month builds trust over time. And part of why this works so well is it doesn't feel like marketing. So don't ruin it by pitching to people. They will unsubscribe so fast. Now, that's not to say that there aren't organic, natural ways to weave in different things depending on, like Brandon said earlier, who your target audience is, right? But you're not here saying, buy and sell a home with me. That's like vomiting on someone and you're like, wow, I kind of started to like you. And then you literally just threw up on me and now it's kind of weird. I just kind of want to wash myself of you. Okay. And that's what happens. Guilty, guilty, man. So guilty of this. Okay. I've had friends who are like, yeah, I don't really, early in real estate, everybody told me, just tell everybody you do real estate. But they didn't tell me how to do it without like annoying people. So I just did it. And I had friends who are like, man, I mean, I like you, but dude, it's not fun to talk to you anymore because all you do is kind of push this on me. It's like, oh, dang, lesson learned. All right, so Brandon, what do you think? You share maybe
Yeah,
let
yeah, I'm
me
ready. So I'm sending a request to share.
I might just I don't Misa just can you if not if you need to make him co-host too at the same time that works as well.
Um, but yeah, just to kind of go back and a synopsis while we're getting the screen share ready. Again, there's a little bit of strategy here, but I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. One of them is the subject line, and the other one is going to be the links, right? So basically, what we've done, rather than um, um, creating just a ton of graphics, right? With which all of these things on, which is going to put it in spam. I've just got links. Now, that does a couple of things. One of them is we've got open rates, and then we have a higher ability for click rates, right? Which increases deliverability, right? Which, when you get click through rates, then the sort of algorithm recognizes that as this is something that people want to open, and it's going to get higher deliverability. All right.
All right. Sorry.
Still not showing that it's
I
turned.
don't know why. Give me a second. We'll figure it if I need to
Okay.
jump on the other computer. I'll probably just make you coast for a second. I gotta
Okay.
go. I'm literally gonna duck down to my other computer that hosts the call.
Okay. No worries. But while we're waiting, let's see here. I've got a couple of things. Lizette, I don't think MailChimp, if it gets over 500 clients, I don't think it's just incredibly expensive. I'm trying to remember. I think for our database, which we had 30,000, I think we were paying something like 500 or 600 bucks a
Did
month.
that
So it's
work?
not, let's see here.
I'm gonna
Yep,
stop
we're
sharing.
good. All right. Okay, actually, that was not the right one. Me, where'd you guys go? Let's go to, here we go. All right. Can we see this?
I see it.
All right. So basically the subject line is, hey, what are you doing for Father's Day? Dot, 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 question mark. And then we have just a little deal, but look here. So when we click through on these, right, it takes us to that link, right? So there's a Brentwood concert series. So it's going to take me to that, right? And that's going to give me a higher click-through rate. But basically, pay attention to is it's text. It's not a lot of graphics. This is my daughter, Olivia. So she sends these out on our behalf. So yeah, we keep it very simple, text only, and then that gets sent out to the database and really great open rates on that.
Do you guys see how simple this is? Anybody overthought it? Right at the start of the call, you were just thinking a little blurb right at the beginning,
Mhm.
warming them up, basically, right? And then look how simple. Because
And so again,
remember,
yeah, it's like this is Jenny. Jenny's got 4 kids that are under age 13. So we're going like, all right, so we've got all of these things, a summer concert, do some baby goat cuddling, music on the lawn, crawfish boil. Like there's just sort of some fun things. Um, that you'd want to do with your kids or on a date night or something like that. So keep it pretty simple.
these are good questions, guys. Drop them in the chat. So instead of doing separate breakout rooms, let's do a quick exercise together instead. Let's have a little fun together. So, what I want each of you to do now is just to start thinking about some of maybe a local event. Let's say, how about a farmer's market, right? What are some other local events in your area that you kind of know off the top of your head? I want you to start thinking about events. I want your brain to start being consciously aware because once you start thinking about events, you're going to have a target now of how to pour energy into and apply the things that you just learned today. So drop in the chat some local events that you know about. And what's interesting too is that local events that naturally come up in your head without like someone telling you what to say, that can actually reveal a little bit about yourself. What you remember, what you attach with, right? Little League games. I like it. Drop some more. CJ, the Ron, what you got? The Ron, I know you've probably got a whole list. You love your events, man. Let's see. Concert in the Grove every Thursday. Ooh, Angie, come on now. I like it. Courtney, back to school bash. MJ, trivia night sports. Ooh, fun, fun. Burger bash, invite me. Dancing, scavenger hunts.
I love
What?
it, scavenger hunt.
Oh, come on. This is great. Summer concert series, Dining Under the Stars. I mean, these are amazing. You guys just realize what you just did? You just showed to yourself you have everything you need. You've got the fuel right there, and you didn't just spend hours and hours of research. So now imagine you do spend a little bit of time. You can do the email that Brandon just showed you. 100%. Some of you have listed already 7 different things that are already going on. You just populated your first email right there. You did it. You got some examples. Remember, you'll have the replay of this. We keep it on YouTube for you as well. But you have the examples. Brandon might even have some resources that he's willing to share. I don't know, Brandon. I'm not trying to throw you. I just know you might
Sure,
have
yeah,
some things
yeah,
you could share.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you can go to we have a podcast called The Agent Bridge, which you can go find. We've got over 100 episodes on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you want to go. And then you can always yeah, there's plenty of resources there and there's a way to interact with us there, so feel free to
that's
check
a
us
good
out.
spot to go. The Agent Bridge. There you are. I'm actually going to drop your channel in the. There we go. Oh yeah, I know like almost everybody that's been on your show too, which is great. They're great people. Great people. All right, guys. So definitely go check out that. So then, we've got some questions. I'm gonna try and snatch them up and ask them to you, Brandon.
Okay.
Guys, drop all the questions you have for Brandon. I know some of you had some earlier. Some of you have some that you haven't put in the chat. Put them in the chat right now. Um, and then we'll answer as many as we can. Lizette, how much is MailChimp if one has over 500 in the system? It's a little technical question, huh?
Yeah, it's not going to be much. Like I was saying, I think we paid with 30,000, we think we pay $600 a month. So you're probably looking at under $100 depending on the size, and you're getting charged a MailChimp by number of people that are in there. So um I can't imagine that you're going to need to put, 30,000 in out of the gate, but if you do have 30,000, then you do need to spend $600 a month on your on your MailChimp so you can
Was
follow
this, was
fully.
the email you showed created on Canva?
Yes, yeah. So we did have a little Canva link, and what I would tell you on with Canva and sort of again, we want to keep it simple. Olivia likes to make things cute. I think you guys mentioned there. But right now, try not to get too focused on that stuff. Right now, like your first one, just make it super simple and you should be able to do everything you need to do in MailChimp. But MailChimp and Canva do have an integration. But again, don't get so paralyzed with trying to make something beautiful and cute. Do that over time. If
And
you go back to
remember,
our first podcast,
that's right.
it's terrible. The angles are terrible. It's like it doesn't matter. You just have to get started. And then you can build in. Just try to get 1% better each time.
That's right. And the
Right.
number one focus, guys, for most of you, use MailChimp, focus on your subject line.
Yeah.
If you're spending time on Canva, but your subject line isn't phenomenal, then you're wasting time, because people will open it for the subject line and they'll stay for the relevancy of the events, all the cute packaging, right? That's already telling you where you're going to stumble. If your brain's already thinking, "Oh my gosh, I want to make this cute." Now you know exactly what you need to block off. You need to block it off for now. You got to just put that through, because that will derail you so fast. Just like me, when I hear I have a good idea, my brain goes, "I should build that." That literally means no, don't build it, because I will lose so much time and I will get so distracted, because I'm good at building things, right? And I enjoy the process of building. All right, let's see some more questions. I still love seeing all these events. Just pumps me up. Like, come on now, guys. I want to subscribe to all your newsletters.
Hmm.
All right, drop some more questions in chat. I'm scrolling up. I know there's some more earlier.
By the way,
Um,
yes, subscribe to each other's newsletters because you guys can share ideas, and it's not going to hurt you to
yeah, I
collab.
mean, remember, guys, I would even ask you on these calls. I would say, open the emails, click the links. Help me out. That's one way for
Yep,
free
that's
that you
right.
can bless me, and it's a huge blessing.
Mhm.
CJ says, "What are your thoughts on MailerLite? Do you know what that is?" I'm guessing that's a.
No, I don't know much about it, so I don't know that I can answer that.
Here's what I'd say: don't get distracted with other alternatives because you don't even know what you're looking for. Try Mailchimp; it's free. Do good. Prove to yourself that you're consistent, that you're going to put in the effort, and then you'll start to know what to look for. Right? Brandon knew right away when he moved to the other place. He started to see, okay, this is a problem. But if you don't know even what to diagnose, what to look for, you'll end up in a bad situation and not even know it. So just trust the process to begin until you become competent and capable enough to be able to be aware of whether something works or doesn't work. Does that make sense, CJ? Hopefully that answered your question. Sweet. Awesome. All right. I know there's some more. Cynthia, I was curious about this. You said you have to use a manual because of corporate policy, no blast emails. So, I my assumption is that that you're just going to spam people with this. Uh, Federal government requires opt-ins for mass newsletters and things like that. Delivery. Some even delivery services require you to prove that they've been opted into it. So the you should not be blasting people with emails. None of you should be blasting anybody. It will always have a far more negative effect. Anybody receive random, I'm going to throw them out, throw them under the bus for this because they're the only ones that I know that do it at this level. Compass and their email deliveries of listings, they have no unsubscribability. It comes from random agents, right? Trust me, that does way more harm than good because people are unsubscribing in troves. So
Yep.
Gmail and other email providers are going, whoa, this is bad. Like people do not want this. People are not clicking the links. So nobody wants the content. And I guarantee you, if people don't see an unsubscribe button right away, you know what they do? Report spam. And
Hmm.
that is a death sentence.
Ooh, it's brutal.
That is a death sentence. Like, oh my gosh. So Cynthia, you should not be blasting anybody. If you have to do it manual, sure. Everybody be she opted in, and if someone opts in, that shouldn't be against any policy or anything because that's literally someone saying, "Hey, Brandon, can you send me that thing?"
Mhm. Guys,
It'd be
start just
pretty weird if
start
you had a policy that said, "No, don't send Brandon the thing he wants."
guys, if you just start with friends, family, and past clients, you're gonna be fine. Right?
Absolutely.
Because I mean, most of your past clients, now I'm making a general assumption, most of your past clients are not hearing from you enough. And I promise you, there are a lot of them that don't even remember your name. So we've got to, so friends, family, and past clients is really where we should start with this, and then we can sort of build that in and sort of fold in other people after some time.
Ooh, more good questions. Andrea says, "I don't know all the leads in my database. Should I send this to them?"
Again, I'm going to say friends, family first, kind of get some good stuff going there. On your 10,000, um, I probably am going to do a little bit of a different strategy to kind of create some open rates with that bigger database, something that's going to be attractive with them versus just sort of spamming them. So, one of the things is like you could do is, like we're creating a visitor's guide right now to Franklin because it's like, hey, when we have people come in, they're like, hey, what do we do while we're in town? And so we're sending that out because we're going to get downloads and click-throughs and stuff like that to a broader base to sort of bring people into the fold.
And something that you guys are going to learn, okay? Once you prove to yourself that you're consistent, what you want to do is organically weave this into your process, your system, your flow. Brandon's my client. Maybe he's a lead. I'm working. We're talking about pre approvals, all the business stuff. And then I'm going to go something like, Brandon, by the way, I'm going to use my own subject line, right?
Hmm.
Did you see about this event? It could save your Saturday. And I might share them a little bit. And then if Brandon says, oh, that's cool, I'm like, yeah, I actually run a local newsletter. I'm going to weave this into everything I say and everything I do because I know that if Brandon's on this newsletter, even if real estate goes forward or it slows down or it has some rocky moments, as long as I can stay in front of Brandon in a relevant way, I'm going to have the best chance at having a long, lucrative relationship with him. So this will be something that you naturally learn how to weave into your conversations. It's always inviting people to something that would be relevant to them.
By the way, if you guys are doing open houses, this is a great way to grab leads from open
Ooh.
houses, right? Because, and I'll even tell them, it's like, hey, I just, because they're asking questions, it's like, hey, I do a local newsletter, it's fun events and stuff like that. Would you guys like to be on it? Yep.
Brilliant.
And
Well
most
done.
most people do not say no.
You know what's good about that
Because
too,
of that.
Brandon? That
What's that?
totally is an honest, true way to be able to nurture someone else's clients too.
Yes.
Because we guys, just so you know, pretty much all of your clients have come from another agent who dropped the ball.
Hmm.
Pretty much all my clients had an agent at some point or knew an agent if they hadn't bought with one yet, and they dropped the ball. Now, I'm not going to go against ethics. You guys know I'm a Christian. I believe in ethics, I believe in following the rules. But I also know that people will be let down statistically by their agents. This is an honest way to stay in front of other people's clients because you know most agents are not going to follow up with them,
Hmm.
right? Do they give you a different email address?
You can choose what domain it's going through, and then it's going to basically be filtered through through Mailchimp to get back to your email address. So,
Perfect.
but no.
Kathleen, I'll try and answer that. I'll look into that. I don't actually know what the Epic Clouds email is. I'll check that for you. And then I'll see. I will say this: most of the time, if a brokerage or a CRM or most institutionalized services, campaigns, follow up are terrible. I'm not saying that that's the case here. I haven't looked at it. I'm just telling you, rule of thumb. On top of that, Kathleen, I think it would be important that you just learn the fundamentals yourself because then you'll actually be able to go into any email service, just like I know what a good follow up campaign looks like. And then you'll know whether it's good or not for you, good or not for your target audience. And so you'll be in a good position. Let's see. How is it that MailChimp can have the ability to have a higher open rate than a CRM?
Basically because so when you're sort of going through inboxes, now we're getting a little bit technical, but when we're going like through filters and inboxes, Mailchimp has just general like credibility in the marketplace in terms of deliverability through like G Suite or Gmail or whatever the sort of servers are, right? So they're going to recognize that versus your individual coming from Follow Up Boss or whatever sort of whatever CRM that you guys use.
Yeah, like
So
basically,
yeah,
like Gmail is everybody's personal inbox bouncer.
right.
And so MailChimp is on way more lists to get
Yeah,
inside than the average CRM. The average CRM, they have not done the work. That's really what it is they haven't done the work to build those direct relationships. So they're just not going to hit as many inboxes. They're not going to be let inside the club.
that's right.
Sweet. Let's see. Do you know the leads? Let's see. Kristen, do you know the leads we get through Lofty? Oh, you're talking about the Epic leads. All leads that you get to for federal compliance should always be opted in. But again, um, when this is actually a good distinguisher, they have to be opted into that specific service or solicitation. So let's say that Brandon's running an email and it's a home valuation. Now, if I say, yes, Brandon, you can send me home valuation, and then he goes and subscribes me to his three other newsletter lists, that would actually be a federal violation because all I said was, Brandon, you can send me home valuation. I did not say that I want to receive market reports. And so you have to disclose it. So even if your leads opted in, let's say some of you guys run ads and they opt in for the whatever you were offered in the ads, I would be careful personally, and Brandon, you can share your thoughts, but I'd be very careful about just automatically opting into other things you do. Because I think that one, it's federally a little bit of a dangerous game to play. And then two, it's just annoying for a lot of people.
Okay,
What do you
these are
think,
great.
Brandon?
By the way, these are great conversations to have on the phone call. Be like, hey, when you call them, right? If somebody's like, you call them, you get an answered call, and you find out it's like, hey, we're not in the market right now. It's like, no problem. Here's what I want to do to make sure that you guys stay informed on the marketplace and what's going on. I have a newsletter that goes out with community events, and then I have another one that goes out with market updates. I'd love to put you on the list. Yeah, great. These are conversations, right? And it's just a way to sort of fold people into your database.
So,
I just don't have bad luck with telling people I'm going to do it and they go, "Oh, okay, great." So it's permission
yeah, yeah. And it's
and
still
it's a way
disclosing.
to have a conversation.
Right. It's still disclosure. And honestly, guys, if you were with the objection handler, Brandon, Nikki Pius with the objection handling. I
Sure.
mean, what does she say? She says, I don't really ask for permission. I just tell them what I'm going to do. And
There you
if
go.
they don't want it, then they can opt out.
There you go.
But I just tell them. And so I do it all the time with anything that I'm doing for a client. I don't say, would you like me to do this? I say, I'm going to do this
Hmm.
because they're grown adults. They know exactly how to say, well, hold on, I don't want that, or tell me
Hmm.
more, or can we take a step back? So if would you like me to connect to a CPA? No. You know what I say? My CPA is amazing. I'm going to just set up a quick group chat
Hmm.
because our natural inclination, guys, is defensive.
Yeah.
Even if it's a good thing, we still tend to just shut down immediately when we're given questions. And so it's much better for us as the experts to lead,
Hmm.
right? And someone who leads doesn't spend their whole time saying, "Hey, would you guys like me to lead you?"
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
going to assume that you hired me to lead you, so therefore I'm going to lead you, right? Let's see. I know you mentioned liking MailChimp. I've had tabs open to research for a couple weeks. Do you prefer that over constant contact?
Yeah, Mailchimp is just what we've chosen and run with, and we've switched. And again, I've got a CIO background, technology wizard, and Mailchimp has just consistently come back as the best one.
Yeah. And again, if you're just getting started, guys, you're not already an expert. Um, just follow the process. Just follow the process. Don't overcomplicate it. These are good questions, by the way, but I'm saying that's the best thing you can do for yourself right now is just take a deep breath and say, I'm going to just follow the process. I'm going to be consistent on it. And then over time, you will find what works for you. You will. And you'll be much better at diagnosing problems in your business as well when something doesn't work. Again, Brandon tried something new. He
Yeah,
tried a
that's
different
right.
email provider, but he could identify very quickly
Yeah,
that it was a problem and he knew how to fix it, right?
that's right.
Let's see. Oh, it's 10:01, guys. What we'll do is if you have more questions, I'll make a post. We'll tag Brandon in it inside the Facebook group. And Brandon, if there's anything else, we shared your YouTube channel, but if there's other stuff you want to share, we can always drop it in the Facebook group. It's open to
That's great.
anyone. I'd love to have you in there. But thanks so much for being on today, man. This is such a
Yeah,
game
my
changer.
pleasure. Now you guys just
Cool.
go do it. What's left is just go take action.
And
And
show us, give them some,
yeah,
take some screenshots or something, drop them in the Facebook
do it,
group, and
guys.
like,
Do it. Do it
I'd love to
today.
see them. I
Do
really
it
would,
today.
guys. I'd love to see them.
All right. It's a
All right. Thank you
pleasure
so
to be with
much,
you
Brandon.
guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Guys, I hope you had a blast, by the way, man. I've been looking forward to this one. This is so easy and it is so powerful. I've been saying email newsletters for how long? So get into the group, drop those questions, share those screenshots. I can't wait to see what you guys do. It's going to be amazing. Remember, the replay will be on YouTube. Newsletter's having some issues right now with lesson learned. I should have done MailChimp as well, by the way. Um, so, Facebook group page. Good question. I should have dropped a link in the chat. Let me do that for you and make it easy because we do have some new faces here. Thanks for being here, by the way. Bing. There you go. Follow-up campaign on a call. Yeah, I love doing follow-up campaigns, but they're very different than what people tend to sell others on them. So it'll be fun. That'll be a good one to do. You're right. All right, guys, we're gonna call it here. Thanks so much for being here. Can't wait to see you again. Can't wait to hear the success and everything you're doing with your newsletters. Bye.